Not sure if anybody noticed in the last couple of episodes of the JK build, but there's been a pile of parts laying over here. You might have seen them in the background. I don't know, maybe not. But there's a lot of stuff going on here. And you're probably wondering, what's it all for? Well, dun, dun, dun. Rubicon Diesel Gladiator. If you been in the market, you missed out. At the very end of 2023, Jeep was just freaking getting rid of these things for pennies on the dollar. The diesels were a little harder to find, but they definitely had a bunch of them, at least the gas ones. And my dad happened to find a diesel one, and I really like the color. So he wants something that's a little more drivable than the old XJ, and still capable. I think he'll probably snow wheel the XJ still. No sense in putting this thing in the ditch and ripping off fenders when you get the XJ that's all armored up. So, but longer trips, stuff kind of like what I'm planning on doing with the JK. This will be a killer rig to do it in. And the diesels, you guys all know, get killer mileage. So this thing's going to be cool, I think. And the tires are those Falcon MTs, the 38 1350s that I've already tried out for them just to make sure they were good, make sure they weren't poisoned.
Poison.
Not poison.
They do really, really, really good. And not that this is going to be like snow wheeling machine, but they do well in the snow, real well. And then we got method wheels on them. I'll show you guys, well, actually I can show you right now. The same wheels as those, same exact ones, but with the other tires. So we're gonna get going on this thing, start tearing it apart. I decided to go with Clayton on the lift kit. We get a Clayton 3.5-inch kit. It's their, I think it's called their Overland kit. It's not the absolute top, flexiest, best one, but it is a really, really good quality one for, you know, for cruising and medium duty off-road. The reason I went with Clayton is because I really like the Clayton kit on the TJ, and their joints. Their joints are really, really good. You guys know me. You guys know that I really like the metal cloak springs, but after talking with the guy at Clayton, it sounds like they got their springs really dialed in specifically for the diesel. So we're gonna give them a try, see how it goes. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pull these bumper caps off. They're ugly. They gotta go. Okay, we got a lot of stuff here. Here's our winch plate. Clayton sent us all kinds of swag. We got the JL taser. We got the Falcon shocks that Clayton recommends to go with their springs. Got their steering stabilizer, track bar, Adam's front drive shaft, bump stops, springs, control arms, rear springs, rear track bar, ARB twin, and our wheels and tires set up. I assume it goes something like that. But my biggest concern is, will the winch fit? I know some of you guys are haters on the Badlands stuff, but I've had really good luck with it on my TJ, so that is what's going on, provided it'll fit. From what I was reading on the JT specifically, I don't know if it's got different brackets or what, but putting a winch in between the frame rails is really tight if you want to leave this piece in here. So we'll see. I know a lot of winches do not fit these, but we're about to find out if the Harbor Freight one does. Okay, it does fit. It's an extremely tight fit. And it pushes against the bumper with the wires coming out the back. And it's only got about an 1/8 inch each side against the rails. And if you can see how tight that is, yeah, barely a business card in between there. It still rotates free, like no issues, but it's very close. The other issue, to get the inside, so there's these two outside frame bolts, there you go. And then there's two on the inside up in there. But I'm gonna have to drop the sway bar and drop these little brackets out of the way and then fish an extension up in there to try to get it. Okay, I got it all on there. I got those rear bolts tight. Royal pain. There was no way I could really video it. Sorry, guys. Clayton actually gives you start lengths for all your arms, so you can set them all the correct lengths, at least to start with. So it should be real close to where you'll end up, which really helps because it takes a lot of adjusting. So if you have a good spot to start, then you're already ahead of the game. The sway bar end links, you actually have to cut a little bit off because they fit multiple different vehicles. Knowing that these things are the same length to start is important because you definitely don't want your sway bar already in a bind installing it. So make sure you get these the exact same length. And that's not obviously determined by the cutting, that's your adjustment here. Okay, took a little while, but I got everything at least loosened up or broke free and the nut backed way off, so it should come off easy. That I'm gonna need to take off, I think, or close to it. Now, it's time to do the driveline. Got all the bolts out of the yoke on the diff. Holy crap, that was like a half hour just to get all those Torx bolts out. I don't know who decided at Jeep that they needed to make the Driveline 8 lug, but I mean, I get the math. Toyotas are 4, this is double. Getting that yoke off is no joke. If you're doing this job, here's what I did. I had a pry bar prying on one side, and then I was able to snake the hammer.
Snakes? Snake.
Up in on the other side of it. So pry bar on this side, hammering on this side with a rubber mallet, and you just get little baby swings. So it's not fun. And it kind of sucks because I can't really film some of this stuff as I'm doing it like I would like to, but you know, is what it is for being one person. So I got that off. Here's a new one. So this O-ring sat down in here on the old one. So here's old one. O-ring kind of sat down in that little home there. And then the nut went up against it. Well, you can see it's kind of machined out for it. And the new one is not. That would not fit down in there at all. So I think what we're gonna do to keep it from leaking out the splines is I'll throw some RVT on those splines. It's a pretty common move. All I got's the vinegar smelling stuff, which I absolutely cannot stand the smell of this stuff. Like, I can't stand it. Oh, yeah. Okay, you guys are gonna like this. This is nuts. So apparently Jeep added this bracket. Just kind of hangs down, doesn't really do anything, doesn't connect to anything. It had 3 bolts in here, but I took them out. So I looked into it, and maybe you Gladiator guys know that it was added for a crash test. Apparently, if you hit something hard enough with this wheel, because it doesn't have the driveline hooked to this side, the wheel can come back, and if this wasn't there, go underneath the vehicle. So they added it for this crash protection wheel guard is what it's called. So I thought, well, that's going away because we're going to do beefy control arms, so that ain't going to matter. Except there's these 2 bolts, and you can't back them out far enough to get them out without removing the body. It's not the rock rail. There you go. It's the body. So yeah, this thing's got less than 100 miles on it, but it's getting a Sawzall treatment. That is BS that you can't take it off. So it's coming off. This guy's gonna go. Well, I'll just cut him off flush with the frame right here. Got one control arm on. Got that mess cleaned up. I got this control arm kind of sitting in there, but I got to do a little reading on the internet, and I still don't have internet in the shop. But as you can see, the bolt that came out of here was a royal pain to get out, and I'm never going to get it back in with the exhaust on. So I'm going to see what Clayton says on their website about what to do there, or their instructions. It is Thursday night, so I don't got to work tomorrow, so I can get some stuff done. I got the shock in on the one side. These shocks are nice. Now I understand why they're expensive. But they got like mode 1, 2, and 3. And within those modes, you can set your firm or softness. That's compression and rebound, obviously. And then beyond that, you have this other adjuster, which took me a while to understand, but should be pretty easy to explain to you guys. You unbolt the shaft if you know the shock's already on the rig, and then you rotate the shaft 360 degrees to go to a softer global setting. So, you know, softer meaning faster compression and rebound. And then you rotate the shaft 360 degrees the other way to be a firmer global setting. So that would mean it's firmer or softer in all 3 of these modes, depending on which way you rotate the shaft, which is kind of a cool thing. There's like a lot of adjustment in these things. They also give you this template that goes around here, this paper template, and then you cut a hole. The hole does not really line up. Not very well anyway. But yeah, we're getting there. I got this one side upper and lower control arms on. Every single bolt on this thing is left loose because it's easier to manipulate and move things around that way. And then once I'm finished with the front, I'll go through and tighten every single thing. about done. I had the sway bar and links to do. And then I realized as I was kind of looking through the instructions that I haven't really looked at yet, that I'm missing something. Can you guys see what it is? I was trying to figure out which direction the swivel head, the rod end goes on each end of the tie rod. And I got to a point where I seen these. Excuse me. Bump stop pads that I totally forgot and put the springs in, the shocks and everything, so had to come back apart. They want you to try to fish a wrench up through there to hold the nut, and I'm just not into that. So I got out the riv nut tool and I'm gonna throw some riv nuts in that hole. And if you have the tools and the know-how, do that. Thread the riv nut on there. You gotta drill it out to the right size. Stick it in the hole. Hopefully I have enough room for my tool to operate. Probably don't. Oh man. Oh yeah, she's in there. Well, I forgot about something. Lug nuts. The factory lug nuts won't work with these wheels, so they're supposed to be here tomorrow, but this is all the look you guys get for now. Diving into the rear today, and it's a freaking nice day out. We got the shop doors open, tons of light. Haven't been able to do that in quite a while. But I'm just gonna start pulling stuff off the rear and, you know, hopefully it goes a little faster than the front. Well, I would love to show you guys how much this thing can flex, but these diesels are heavy. The tractor's maxed out. It won't lift it any higher. We're a long ways from maxed out on the Jeep, but man, this thing's cool. Makes me want one.